Hey guys, this is Michelle Trades and welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, welcome. My name is Michelle. I'm a registered nurse and a nurse practitioner student. If you're an oldie but a goodie, hey, what's up? Thank you for being here again. It's good to see you. You already know what it is. You already know what it ain't. So cheesy, but basically I'm just trying to say welcome. If you haven't, make sure you subscribe to this channel. I will be uploading more often, more frequently, hopefully weekly. Just giving you guys up-to-date stuff about my life, about what's going on and everything around it. But yeah, let's get to it. From the title of this video, we're going to be talking about recent events that have happened in this new year that we've entered. Is like the first couple of weeks of 2023, and we're getting a lot of stuff going on. So number one, I wanted to talk about the most recent, well, I want to say most recent, but one of the recent events that happened in New York among the nursing community. So for those of you guys that live around this area, you guys are probably already know. For any nurses that worked in these hospitals, you probably already know what I'm going to be talking about. But for some of you that don't, I will give you guys an inside scoop. So basically, I'm going to start off by a little backstory, because being that I'm in school and I've been working, I really haven't had much time to stay up to date with the latest news and really with social media and stuff like that. So a lot of times I learn about things, it's later down the line, not as, I'm not as up to date as I probably would have been earlier. But I remember me and some of my ICU nurses, my ICU nurse friends, because you guys, I've updated you guys, I left the ICU and yada yada yada. Now I'm in the ER. If you haven't, I'll add the video up here to just update you guys. But basically, we had this group chat and we update each other about different things. We talk about different openings, if anyone's looking for a job or just stuff like that. Sometimes we hang out. So one of my friends had put in the group chat about this nursing position in New York. Basically, they're looking for nurses, and basically the pay was $120 an hour. It was some really high payment and stuff like that. All of a sudden, I'm just like, yo, what's going on? What's going on? I'm already working. I already have a lot of things in place, but I was still curious. So I looked up, I went on the link trying to apply, but then as I began to read further, I realized that the reason why they're hiring so many nurses and with this high pay incentive is because there were two hospitals that went on a strike, and this happened in the beginning of January, the first couple of days of January. And basically the strike was, to protest against the unsafe staffing ratios that's been happening. I'm sure it's been happening for a while. I'm sure they've reached to a boiling point where they were like, you know what, I cannot do this. Let's go on a strike. So it was about 7,000 nurses amongst two big major New York City hospitals. So it was about 3,500 in one, 3,500 in another one. A total of about 7,000 nurses went on the strike. On this lovely Monday, they went on the strike and did not come to work. Imagine how crazy that is. But also just think about how far things must have gone for them to come to this point where it's you know what, I have to step down and leave. Before they went on the strike, I'm sure the unions had gone through some negotiation with the management forces. And to my knowledge, what I saw online when I was doing my research was that they were offered a pay increase. But how many of us know that a pay increase at a point ain't gonna cut it if it's really bad? And let me tell you guys how bad it is. So the patient ratios were so bad in the emergency department, the nurses were getting 20 patients at once. So you have a nurse that's coming in beginning of the shift and you're assigned 20 patients. Now I know for myself, I'm still new into ER nursing and stuff, so 6-7 patients is already too much for me. So imagine 20 patients. I don't even know how. I would have probably gone insane. And then for ICU nurses, they were getting as far as 4 patients to one nurse. And we're not machines, we're not robots. I don't know who, started this rumor, but nurses are not robots or machines. So we can only do so much with the 2 hands that we have. And also, when we're not adequately staffed, the patients get affected. Patients, they're actually the one that gets the end blow, basically. They're not getting adequate care. Some of them might get sicker. A lot of things might get forgotten. This is probably why some patients get pressure injuries and get infections and, just stuff like that from neglect, subsequently as a result of just not adequate staffing. So that's why these nurses went on strike, because they were like, you know what, enough is enough. And the things that they were striking against, not only was it the unsafe patient ratios, but also they were working with no breaks. Some of them didn't have lunch breaks. Oh my gosh, if I don't get a lunch break, I get hangry, I get annoyed, I get irritated. And basically overall, there's just been a lot of burnout, especially after the pandemic. Now, I also made a video, I'm gonna put the link up here, basically talking about my experience working in the pandemic and how much it really affected me and a lot of nurses around me. So that's something that if you want to check out, you can definitely click the link and check it out. So eventually, after a couple days, I guess the management, because a lot of, higher ups were involved. This was like a state thing. It was on the news and all that stuff. But eventually, management and the higher ups, they came down to a conclusion and worked, some kind of proposition for the nurses, which included hiring more staff, a more pay increase, and also just making sure there's a process ensure to make sure that this kind of unsafe patient staffing ratio doesn't happen again. Now, this is what they said online. Yeah. 2-step, 2-month process for resolution of disputes, clear metrics to prove violations, financial penalties equal the hourly base rate of nurses needed to meet the ratio. The materials also outline the 3-year contract agreement with an average compounded 19% plus experience difference, 19% plus experience difference wage increase. Basically, they said they're gonna work on it. I'm not here to talk about what was done, what wasn't done. I'm more so here to just discuss what we can learn from this situation. If you're a nurse and you're watching this, you already know or understand like what it feels to be in that position, or at least close to such a position as that. So you understand why these nurses went on a strike. They didn't go on a strike just because they were like, you know what, this lifestyle ain't for me. It takes a lot of resilience and passion to stand up for yourself and realize, you know what, this is wrong. I can't continue working like this. And sometimes it takes these far lengths for people to make necessary changes for you, which is sad. So I'm going to talk about 8 things, just be really quick about the things that I learned from just reading about this case. Nurses are so overworked. So overworked, and this is just across all boards. The double duty is definitely a known thing. I know for one, when I first started, I was so annoyed just figuring out how much overworked I get and how much of it, not even double, but just multiple duties I play. Like, I'm not only a nurse, I end up being like the CNA, I end up being the transporter, I end up being like the phlebotomist, I end up being so many things, an advocate, just different things that I know is not a part of my job description. I end up taking up that role, and that's because of just short staffing, unavailability of staff, and just a whole bunch of things. So in the end result, nurses, we do end up being overworked. I feel like nurses are appreciated, but only to a certain degree. Especially during the pandemic, we were the healthcare heroes, we were in the limelight, the forefront, all that stuff for a while. But I feel like our appreciation only goes a certain way. I think it was, I'm not saying that that moment was just 100% publicity stunt, but like when it comes down to the core of it, I feel like there are times where we're not as appreciated as we should be. We still get a lot of neglect as nurses, and that's why I'm not so upset that these nurses have to go on the strike, because sometimes it takes these lengths in order to get people's attention. Another thing, we're definitely dispensable. The way that they just like hired new people, which I understand, they have to keep the business. The reality of it is that you can be the best nurse in the world. If you decide to leave, they will replace you. So that's crazy. Another thing is that it's important to stand up for what's right. I think this has definitely built up the courage of other nurses to realize that when things are not favorable, or not even favorable, when things are really, dangerous on the patient care level, you have to make sure you stand up for what's right and not keep condoning, a lot of unsafe things. Another thing, which is very important, that I learned, is that it's important that you as an individual protect your health, protect yourself. It's important that us as caregivers, we have to take care of ourselves first in order for us to take care of others. So that can mean, that can also include de-stressing yourself, trying to eliminate or manage burnout and stuff like that, which is what these nurses did. It's important that you kind of prioritize yourself in that aspect, because you're only as strong as you can only go as far as your strength can carry you. So you have to make sure that you prioritize your health, which is something I learned from this case. Protect your license. Oh my gosh, it's crazy how a lot of things can happen, but it falls on the nurses most of the time. So it's important that you protect your license. If anything is going wrong, or you see something is dangerous, something is illegal, something is not right, make sure you protect your license. However that looks for you is either you say, you know what, I won't be a part of this, or you know what, I will make sure this gets handled. Whatever the case is, make sure you protect your license, because at the end of the day, it really be falling out on the nurses. Like, if a patient like died due to neglect, the nurses really get a huge portion. I'm sure like the physicians do, but other than that, the nurses, they get a lot of blame for stuff like that. And I think like, just think about other things that have happened in the news about nurses, you know, getting fired and their license revoked. Like, I'm pretty sure a lot of things were incorporated into that case, but ultimately the nurses get the blame. So it's important that you protect your license at all costs. And I think the last one would be, which is not really like a thing that I learned, but I also just want to know how this would change the trajectory of nursing workforce as a whole. I've never had something like this happen within my area for as long as I've been a nurse, which has been about like 4.5 years. So it's just interesting to see what happens next and how things will go moving forward. It's funny, I used to want to work in New York as a nurse just for like a couple months just to see how it is, but child, like, I don't like stress like that, so we'll see. But yeah, that's pretty much it. But if you guys like this video, make sure you give it a thumbs up, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe, make sure you share with a friend, and comment your thoughts. Let's keep a dialogue going. I'll definitely respond to your comments. But thank you guys so much for watching this video, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye.